Hello again, YouTube. This is the Truth Man giving you the truth. And we're going to talk about white privilege and systematic racism and uh, black poverty and all of that on this particular broadcast. Giving you the truth. The channel is the No Matrix, No Simping, All Subjects channel. All subjects. So we're going to talk about white privilege, whether or not it's a thing, whether it's not, it's a reason why they're ahead. We're going to get into the truth. And I ask the video handlers, please just be fair. Let this truth ring. It's a fact. First point. Can black people use this white privilege thing and this systematic racism as an excuse as to why we are in the position we are today? And the answer is no. Here's why. Because when everything did change, the opportunity is there. We were behind. That's true. But we couldn't. The resources are here right now. And the resources have been here for years for us to become financially literate and catch up, so to speak. But white privilege really was a thing probably in the 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s. So it did exist and it did give them a head start. So I was listening to a conversation in a store that I go to very often. And the woman, father just passed away. Father was a nice guy. I used to go in there all the time. I like the family. I'm cool with the workers in the store as well. But I was listening to that conversation and it gave me the idea for this video. So a guy comes in there and he's asking her like he wants to buy like their property. Like he's saying, your father still have such and such land and such and such land. And it made me think like this. We can't get mad at white people because their families looked out for them. Their families loved them enough to leave her a store. You know what I mean? Leave her and her mother lands and properties and this and that. Where when my relatives died, they didn't leave anything like grandparents, parents. My mother's still alive, but it's looking doubtful on that front too. Black people do this all the time. Like they die and they don't leave nothing. Or we make that mistake. We'll have life insurance and we get behind on the premiums and things like that. You get behind on your premiums and you lose it, you're supposed to get another policy. But we can't blame them in 2022. They could have blamed them in 1950, 1960, 1930, 1899. But even in 1899, you had people that were rising above it. You had, what's his name? R.G. Gaston. You had people like that who still were rising above all the disadvantages to do what they had to do. And let's be honest, black people are too in love with sex and partying. That was my problem. That's a lot of y'all problem. And in the process of doing that, you're wasting valuable time that you could be working or starting a business and generating income. Instead, you want to hang around all these people who down the line, they're going to either hate you or stop dealing with you anyway. You're just wasting time. That's what happens in Milwaukee. That's what happens. I don't even have to be there. I know it's the same thing, especially in the Midwest. The whole country, but the Midwest in general, barbecues, parties, clubs, all the money and all that time being wasted. Guys, you think you got a big wing ding, so you think you're going to impress these women like you the only one that got that. and you wasting time and valuable energy that you could have building a future for them kids you keep making. And we yes, it's true. Like women could, contribute, and they could stop fighting and draining energy in their own ways. But we can't even look at them necessarily. Think about it. I've been working since I was 16 years old. I really should be a millionaire. Like, I've been working since I was 16 years old. Ain't nobody made me a slave. Ain't nobody gonna make me a slave. And I'll say that again, and I don't care. You ain't gonna make me no slave. Are you out of your mind? So we can't blame slavery. We can't look at something that happened in 1830. This is almost 200 years later. And some of them probably have more money than some of us. So yeah. If you're going to blame anybody, don't blame the white man. Blame your great-grandparents. Blame your grandparents. Blame your parents. But you can't blame the white man because, see, if they lived during the Industrial Revolution, which was the 70s, stuff like that, they, like I said, partying. I mean, even looking at my own father, man, that stuff was fun as a kid, but we used to have boxing parties. I'm sure he was spending $200, $300, $400 with Hearns and all them, Hagler. Every time they fought, we had plenty of people at our house. I mean, and it's like, white people did those things too, but the difference with a lot of them is, like, I even see it today, like sometimes when I do deliveries and stuff, they'll send their kids to the door. Kid to be 5, 6 years old, they teaching them. Tip, this, that. They teaching them. But we, as black people, we supposed to be African, well, the jury's out. Like, a lot of our ancestors were here first. Or we might as well say American warriors. But yet, we are trying to blame them for the shortcomings that we continue to make. Like, you can't sit around. This is what I be trying to tell my sons. Because I wasted my time in a different way. Like, yeah, you play video games, do all that stuff, man, but you're supposed to do that after the money is made. See, I spent all that time in my early 20s, 20, 21, 22. I really shouldn't even been hanging out. I should have just been working, stacking money. And yeah, I mean, I had money from stuff I was doing, but that don't last. You outgrow that stuff, and now you got to start from square one again. So there is a such thing as white privilege. We can't use it as an excuse in 2022. And people that's still talking about that, stop supporting them and watch they stop talking about it. They talking about it because they generating notoriety and income from it. It's not white versus black. When the government do what they do it to whites and blacks, man. Like, it's not white versus black, man. How are we still thinking that? The only people who think that is brainwashed whites, brainwashed blacks. People that's just conscious and aware, they already know. Like, I already know that a white person could be my enemy for a moment if that's what they choose. But in general, the white man is not my enemy. And let's get smart though. Don't call me a coon and all that without knowing the truth. Like, see, that's people's problem. You hurl out words, you don't know what the hell you're talking about. I know I'm right. I know you're wrong. If you disagree with me, I know you're wrong. White people in general are not the enemy. They, like, for a moment, they could choose to make themselves an enemy of a person, whether it be whatever the situation may be. You go to the stores where all them at, sometimes they look at you like, I mean, and some of that is because what people do. Like, they think of how many times they watch on the news stuff that we doing. And just like, think how many times we watch on the news stuff they be doing. They think we are bums. We think they are perverts. I mean, that's the stereotypes. Like me, I judge people individually, but that's the stereotype. So you can't, if you want to point the blame to somebody, then point it at your parents, point it at your grandparents, point it at your great-grandparents. Ask them about all the partying they was doing. Ask them about all the money they was wasting instead of putting it up for you. Ask them about why they didn't have a life insurance policy. Because see, some of these black parents and grandparents, they got to do a good job of talking down on their kids and grandkids, but then when they die, they don't leave them nothing. How you talking about them? You need to be looking in the mirror. Some of them won't even help them, period. Man, you got to be like, I'm going to college. I'm kind of low on my tuition. They'll have the money in their bank account and won't help them. But then when they drop out of college, they'll talk about it. And I know because I had relatives that did it to me. Like when I dropped out of college for not paying that little money, they talked about me, but then none of them dropped the money though. They didn't drop the money. That's why that little family stuff, man, families are made by action. It's not blood relatives. Let's make a distinction. You have blood relatives, you have family. Blood relatives are not family unless they're supportive, loving, there for you, got your back, so on and so forth. If they can't even like your post on Facebook, come on, man. That's a blood relative. That's not family. They scared to agree with you on a social media page, knowing they do agree with you, but they don't want other people to see. That's not family. And that's not friends. That's what people got to realize, man. That's what people got to realize. I realize it. That's why I say, how can I look at the white man as the enemy when I'm seeing all these black people who want to kill me, who want to steal from me, who don't want to help me, they don't want to support me, they talk behind my back. You doing these things, it don't matter what color you are, you an op. To me, you are. It don't matter. Like, you don't get a free pass for being black. You think you gonna get a pass to go for being black? No, you ain't good. You're not getting a free pass. I know somebody right now that they have a check. They're living with somebody. They have a check that they can help that person. The person is struggling. They won't cash the check. But yet they living with that person. That's the type of stuff ninjas do. And not just ninjas. Okay. In terms of the word, you can be a ninja and not even be this skin color. You're a ninja based on what you do, because the definition means ignorant. And black people ain't the only ones ignorant. I mean, do you watch the news? Come on now. But black poverty, if you're able-bodied and you've been working jobs, or even if you able-bodied and you're refusing to work jobs, and now you need aid and stuff like that, that's really on you, because the resources is there to learn how. You got all these saving challenges. You got all people talking about money. You can learn just the information that you can learn what you need to learn to make it better for you and your family. But notice I said we, a lot of times we are too freaking impulsive when it comes to money. We're too impulsive. We want to win the lottery. Where the richer people, the people who have the money in the bank and the resources, they'll play that lottery sometimes, but they don't rely on the lottery. See, when you relying on the lottery to have wealth, you in bad shape, man. Because in the process of trying to win, you're going to lose. And when you lose, you got to look at the fact that you really could have saved that money. So, I mean, if you want to gamble, gamble, but you just better understand those facts. Just these is facts. These ain't like make believe. So, in terms of white privilege, we can sum this up in a couple minutes. That stuff really came into play more so 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s. Now, the information age after the civil rights movement, now a black person can get just as rich, if not richer, than a white person. Now, will some whites try to stand in the way and do little stuff like not let you move? Of course. Of course, they'll try to keep you out their neighborhoods and this, that, and the other. Let them do it. Who cares? Just focus on what you need to focus on. See, y'all too, why are y'all even looking at what they doing? We're all people here. If a person thinks they're God, whether they white or black, just let them think that. They're going to find out eventually they not. When you step in a room, you've never let nobody of any race make you feel inferior. Who are they? They put their pants on just like you. They poop just like you. Yeah, the military come running when certain people do stuff. I mean, that's just a fact. But you don't use that as a hindrance or a crutch. Money adds up the same. You got to make it add up. I got to make it add up. We can't use them as no excuse. Any poverty to anybody that's healthy, mentally healthy, spiritually healthy, physically, it's your own fault in 2022. In the United States, it's your fault. You say, well, man, I'm from a small town. Is that? Man, it's something you could do in that small town to get enough money to get out of that small town if it's that bad. If it's that bad. But this blaming whites, I mean, systematic racism, racism is going to always exist until the judgment of God. Why focus on that? And then another group of people who just want to focus on when the world going to end, so they don't do nothing. You being unproductive. You being unproductive, and you quitting on life too. You low-key quitting on life. You supposed to be working now. You supposed to be getting money. You supposed to be enjoying this life. None of it. I'm a prophet and I don't know God to the point where I say, okay, well, I ain't doing nothing else because the Most High finna do this. He ain't gonna even show himself like that. It's a lot of people from remember Y2K and 2012, all that stuff is, guess what? In the past, and it didn't happen the way it said. And even if it would have, we could have adjusted. I mean, stop blaming whites for what you don't have. And white people need to stop trying to blame blacks for everything that go wrong in the world, because there's not even enough of us for you to place the blame on us what's wrong with the world, especially in leadership. So they can't blame us. We can't blame them. Whatever we don't have as able-bodied people, blame your grandparents. Blame your parents. Y'all be on Facebook and Instagram all this talking about how great your grandparents was, but how much they leave you? How much they leave you? Or were they running the streets? Or some of them might not have been running the streets, but they weren't doing what they needed to do to help you. See, so save all them empty props, man. Save all them empty props. Oh, my parents was the greatest. Didn't leave you no money, no property, no nothing. That's what we really should be spending our time in prayer, connecting with God. But as far as an earthly standpoint, while we're able-bodied, we should be spending our time building wealth for ourselves, for our kids, for our grandkids, and whoever else. That's what we should be doing. All this hanging out, man, forget them dudes, man. That dude will bang your wife in a heartbeat. Rearrange her guts, and you, oh man, that's my day one. Is it? So you spending all your time drinking beer, standing around with him instead of them 3 kids you got, building wealth for them, putting money in a jar for them. Come on now. This stuff can be y'all. This stuff is y'all. You got the women with the yoga pants trying to jiggle. They know they booty. They know guys like they booty. So they trying to wear everything. They spending all their time in the mirror trying to see which pants make their booty jiggle the most, which dress make their booty jiggle the most, so they can have more kids that they can't support and them dudes ain't gonna support. That's what you blame. Grandparents, parents, Pookies, Ray Rays, Shanays, not the white man. The white man could care less what you doing. They in a suburb. I deliver to them all the time. They in a suburb. Some of them be outside in the yard with their friends and their relative. Some of them, they be in the house watching Netflix. They doing their life. They living their life. Cycling. They not thinking about you. You letting these guys get rich talking about black man this and the black man that and this and that. And a lot of them, I like listening to them, but it's not an excuse. It's not an excuse, man. It's not. $2, $1 plus another dollar equal $2. You save $1, you put another dollar with it, it's $2. It don't matter if you black, Latino, white. It don't matter. The money still add up the same. That's why Indians can come over here and get all these stores, gas stations, liquor store, hotels, while we who are already here, yes, I would like to apply for food stamps. It's not their fault. It's your fault. That's why they don't respect us, man. When they get when they get to know you, they'll respect you. Give me 1 second. So we ain't using that for no excuse no more. We achieve. And yeah, y'all talking about college a scam, this, that. Listen, some of y'all need to go to college. You're not the business person. You're not the type of leader. You do good, more following. Maybe a job is for you. Maybe a career in computers or some type of career is the way that you should go. Everybody can't go the business route. Everybody shouldn't go the business route. Like, we all should take different routes, and that'll make the economy go like this, like a wheel. Of course, you're going to have the white people who never buy from blacks. Who cares? It's always going to be somebody that's going to buy what you're selling. It's always going to be somebody that's going to give you the job. Stop worrying about what your ops think. You're going to have them in every race. Forget them. But anyway, the channel is the No Matrix, No Simping, All Subjects channel. No Matrix, no using white privilege, systematic racism, and all this other terms as an excuse. Redlining. Oh, so you gonna give up on your dreams because of redlining? They don't want you in their neighborhood. Find another neighborhood that could care less about you being there. Thanks for watching. Keep tuning in.